Okay, good morning, guys. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Wednesday, the 24th. Quick, important disclaimer and reminder for all traders and investors: webinars for educational purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument, equities, excuse me, futures, options, and currency trading, large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures and options markets. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. The website is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell equities, futures, or options, and you can read the rest there for yourself if you'd like. We'll go from there. So quickly, this is NQ for yesterday, right? And you can see NQ from yesterday. In the trading, if we knock this down to an RTH trading level, which we will, there we go. So you can see we started off the day. Wow, you know what? I already changed this chart, so it's not going to match up. I apologize. And I didn't take a picture of it. So scratch that because it's not going to do us any good. This is these are the levels for today. And we can see how it traded overnight with the levels. Sorry about that. Forgot to save it before I redid it. So you can see overnight here, we start the evening session right about here. All right, you can see we came into this, we gapped up. Actually, I guess it started a little bit early. Gapped up, pushed a little bit into the support zone, came back to test value of your low, pushed back into the support zone, pushed back up, pushed back into the support zone again. Then at 2 a.m., London came in. They decided they loved. Oh. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Good morning. I was just pointing out on NQ overnight, I erased the levels from yesterday prior to saving them for NQ, but you can see overnight we pressed into this support resistance zone, this anomaly right here from 1334 down to 1300 basically. And then when London came online, they finally got the desire to buy it. You can see how easily we traveled all the way through that. This theme, if you can get it in your head, that which is hard, right, is that the potential to travel all the way through a value area is always there, right? And that the point of control is the hardest place. It makes a great target, very difficult place to establish a trade. Even though, right, you'll look at it and go, oh, well, I could have shorted here, but you're always going to be in this dance where, well, if I could have done this or if I did it, this is one of those locations where no matter how you turn it, one time it'll work and the next time it'll be totally different. That's why it's so hard to trade that area. Nonetheless, for today, these single prints right below. Oh, I know what I wanted to point out. So where we found responsive buyers yesterday was the single prints started right where yesterday's prior day low is. So literally right under yesterday's low, we still have a wide swath of single prints plus this is a prior day's low that has not been tested, right? So for today, you have prior day's high and low, value area gets easily traded through. The key resistance is above at 13,240 to 13,204. The first key support area is both this anomaly is valid during the U.S. session, followed by these single prints and this prior day's low. And I really don't see a reason why the market's just going to fall apart. So that's probably our range for today. I'm happy to post the levels up. Some people asked for it, so I'm happy to give them. So it kind of looks like this. This is, by the way, a gap fill down here. I didn't lay it out like that, but that's what that is. Chart BNP. I will not be consistent in pumping out the NQ charts and CL charts. I'll do them as I can. You just have to know. Everyone in the room should know how to design their own chart. So this will be inconsistent as I have time to do it because I'm just not. I haven't dedicated myself to doing it every day yet. That's simple as that. I will send you NQ in just 1 second. NQ 0324. Let me take care of that really quick. Okay. And Randy, if you'll turn yours on and off, you have it as well. Okay, Matt, that's sent. Okay, so NQ's handled. That's sent. Slide this over to another monitor. And we will then do CL really quick. So CL profile. Okay, so this is CL. I didn't do a 5-minute chart from yesterday on CL. We can. I don't have an issue with that. So just duplicate the chart. Yeah, F5. Just do 2 days. Okay. And then you clean the chart. And you go F5. Okay, so do the levels for the 23rd. All right, so you can see this is pretty ragtag put together CL, right? So 2 things that were important on this chart. So when you look at the chart, this is prior day's low over here, and you can see right out of the gate we gap down below prior day's low, right? So this is US session, right? They pushed, right? So this is a prior day's low here that they're trying to violate and then recover, right? So you got to remember there's overnight price action. We opened up, we came in underneath prior day's low, found responsive buyers and pushed, came back in, and it was single prints on top of that. So came back in underneath, tried to push again, and then you can see they finally made it to the yellow zone. See, right when we came off that yellow zone at 10:30, another beautiful rotation again. We had this hooked up for the long right in here. It just the natural goal would have been to take it back over here to this prior day's low, right? So again with the yellow zone, right? So first time underneath prior day's low, strongest response. You can see the response got weaker and weaker each subsequent test of a particular location. Then we came to the next logical location, which was the anomaly. Again, you had to have this part drilled in your brain so you understand what's going to happen. So like once we're on those micro levels of taking our setups, we understand where the market clearly can and cannot go. I'll set up the NQ trade in just a moment, but for the short that we had for 100 points yesterday, right? So when we came in, this is the first time in. Location alone, right? So remember, when this room started before the algo existed, it was location alone, right? Location 1, first time touch, profitable. Location 2, first time touch, profitable. Underneath prior day's low. So remember, this is a prior day's low. This is CL, so I'm not guessing up the chart, right? We have this level, right? And then we have this level. So first time underneath a level, and somewhere underneath there, they're usually going to try to find a way to save it. They did. I understand I dashed a line here, and I didn't. I just was in a hurry. And then this left it empty. So the first thing is before we transform this chart, right, we want to look at what it looked like overnight. So we can see if we tested those untested levels. So now we go back. Okay, so now you can see over here, this is US session. I shut down the chart at 1:30, right? Yeah, I can adjust this so you can see between the 1:30 and the, here, I'll make the change. Let's just make this 13:31. Okay, so there you can see the continuation after the US session close. You can see they did not get underneath. Normally the target would be to get underneath this prior day's low. It didn't do it, responded back up to the prior breakdown location, rejected 50-60 back. We got over the last swing. This is the push off the bottom, 50-60 back. And then you're going to notice that it's going to go back and find, remember, this area was support. It's only logical that it becomes resistance over here. Once we're up resistance, found responsive buyers, right? So now we're going to change this chart. Okay. But it doesn't matter which market you're in, the principles are the same, right? We're not really. So we're going to come over here. So remember that 24th there? I'm not interested in that particular chart. I need to see something here real quick. 8 o'clock, 13:30. How come I already have a full profile chart going? Oh, I know why. Hold on. There we go. That looks better. Let me see what's going on. Fed speaker on the calendars, yes. And then we also have the Fed chair, I think, at 10 o'clock, and Yellen as well. That, as you know, I always yeah, anyways, everyone knows how I feel about that. So let's just correct this really quick. So first of all, this becomes a Dalton's gap fill, right? So that's yellow. This becomes a prior day's high. Okay, I'm just going to tag it off as orange to make it quick. Prior day's point of control goes yellow. And then we start moving stuff around. So this goes green, prior day's high. Let's do this anomaly goes here. It's a valid anomaly. Value area low. Value area high. Points of control. So and that's pretty much it. And then you have mid of a half gap. And that's a white zone even on CL. So I would kind of do it like that. And children's toys are speaking. Oops. I'm going to do that. So this is mid of a half gap. Prior day's high. I don't have anything above 62. If we get up there, I'll worry about it. And then all these zones below are still valid, right? So if I control A, and then if we go back to the 5-minute chart from overnight, right? So now you can see overnight from where we started that, oh, I know what the problem is here. There we go. So now if you look overnight, see how it changed a little bit? This was still a prior day's low. They never violated it, right? Came back up into resistance, right? You can see that was a prior yellow zone still from the prior day. We danced around it, right? First time above, kind of failed because it came back in for a 50-60 retrace, which is normal, right? So this is the impulse move, broke the swing, 50-60 back. Second time above yellow zone, backside tested one more time, pushed. Very little resistance in a I don't know why that's blue, but we'll change it to purple. There. Very little resistance once it got into value area low. Once again, you can see this is point of control is still a difficult place, remains a difficult place to trade. And then, so two things. All we're doing is re-auctioning all of yesterday's RTH PA here. You'd have a breakout if you could hold above 60. Then the natural target would be that 60.50 to 60.77, followed by Dalton's gap fill. And then you have the levels above. So I'll post that. Again, no promises that I'll keep posting this because, as y'all can see, it can become quite just time consuming, right? So edit. File, save as JPEG, CL. Guys, give me just 1 second, please. Hey, Nicole. Oops, that's not going to work, is it? Okay, 1 sec. Randy, just go. It should show up right inside your folder. You may have to update to a newer version, right? So make sure your CR charts is updated. And it's not opening. You and I will just have to get on the phone later today and see if we can work it out. I don't know what's wrong then. It should open right up. It should come right out of your file. Disconnect and reconnect. Vol Pro 1999, capital V, capital P, right? Give me just a second, guys. I blocked my wife in. I'll be right back. It should be there, Randy. I don't know where it is, but it should be in there somewhere. Try to disconnect and reconnect again. Sometimes they delay it a little bit. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. Apologies. Okay, so let's get this printed. Got that done. And then let's get ES done really quick. So on ES, I don't have it changed yet. So just to go through yesterday. So usually the single prints are pretty good, right? So just to go through this quickly. First time, just missed the yellow zone, right? So it actually tags the yellow zone. Responsive by, point of control becomes the natural target, right? Come back down. So this is really, you'd count this, they just missed, so if you want to be technical about it. First time, second time, attempted to hold it the third time, failed. So usually the single prints provide a counter rotation, and they did right down here, right at the top of the hour. It rotated from 04 back to 12, finally failed. So remember, this is a weak anomaly, right? So if you're trading here, you have to anticipate that it could trade through. Again, it's the last hour as well. And they had a hard time holding it until the after hours. And then if you look overnight without modifying the zones, again, you see that single print got traded. Remember, if an area gets traded through easily once, it gets traded through easily again. We consolidated in that weak anomaly. You can see this was a mess. And then it pushed back up to where the old support resistance line was, and that's what we're rejecting out of, right? So now we rotate it over and make the adjustments. So first thing, again, you can see we're just in the, it's really not breaking down. It's just in a wide consolidation, right? There's really nothing bearish or bullish. So let's go make the changes. So let's see. Low, we can apply this. This goes to the low. This becomes orange. This becomes top of value area high. Let's see, we'll just make this green for prior day's high. Value area low. Value area high is already taken care of. This becomes the key anomaly right here. And then this just goes away. And then excess at the bottom. Poor high, excess at the bottom. So that high is likely to get broken whenever it gets tested up there. Weak anomaly here in between. It is an anomaly, but it's just a weak anomaly. So you can mark it off in blue just so you know why it's getting choppy there. Light blue, weak. Oops. Value area low, and that goes away. And that's the chart. Part is high, part is low. No, 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 no. And you get about the prints, you have this 39.44 followed by 39.59 to 55 area as resistance, plus the white zone above. So that translates into, excuse me, overnight translates into this. Right, so you can see again, when we opened up, we kind of chopped through that yellow zone. They really couldn't get above it. You can see once they finally got a really clean close above, they took it through. Again, weak anomaly, value area low. We've been dancing. So that's why I mark off these weak anomalies. I don't necessarily, they're not a location trade per se, but I want to know why we're rotating there. And again, the natural target, yet again, is that 39.30 to 39.33. Prior day's point of control makes a natural target. And I'll print that. Okay, and those are the zones. Let's see. That's probably enough for one day right there. And then let's put this to. Let's try. Okay, and those are the levels. Edit. Copy chart to BMP. File. Save as JPEG. Yes. Randy, it's still not there? I'll try to send it again. Just go File, Open Chartbook. It should automatically be inside your chartbook list of chartbooks. Hopefully, if it's not, let me know. Okay. Slide this back over. I see NQ is getting shellacked down into support, which is great. Hold on one sec. I don't have one of my trading domes open, but I'm going to fix that. Post haste. Wow, that's really frustrating how it does that. Hold on 1 second. Vast difference between NQ and ES. I'm trying to see. Okay. So CL's up $1.83, ES is up 17, NQ is only up 3. So I would look for a long setup in NQ actually, or ES to catch up, one of the two. And we have all our levels checked out there. I'll cover the NQ trade in a minute. Let me get my orientation here really quick. NQ into the bottom of its yellow zone. Yes, Randy. So looking on NQ, I'm going to turn my attention to NQ for a second. So it's getting shellacked out of the gate. All right, so let's just go do our analysis really quick on the 8 range. I don't have a fractal anywhere on that chart. Look at that, not one. So it's a wait and see game there. I take it back, right? No, that's triangle, not fractal. So nothing there. Let's go to the smaller range and see if it sets up. That's RTH. Again, this is your 3-bar combo right here. So that's the only thing I have to work off of. So right now, this is my mark. Point control above. That's where we're at. We don't have another fractal yet. As soon as we do, I'll let you know. And again, you should have that if you're trading it on your own screen. And then let's go look at CL here real quick on the, it's actually been setting up quite nicely on the 8 range. And if we use the 8 range as our guide, you would really say it's this right here. That 3-bar combo. So I'd be looking below. It's trading enough range where the 8 range makes sense. 59, 56. So where I'd be looking short, and then you'd have continuation on a close above here. So if you can get a positive bar with a point of control above, I would expect continuation. Either way, I'd use about a 15-cent stop on that, no matter how I traded that. I wouldn't want more than a 15-cent loss. And those are your 2 levels right there. We'll just keep it up on 8. And NQ still is not set up. And ES, now if we look at the 2 range, we haven't set up anywhere near on the 2 range. You can see there's just not very much volatility. There's not even a 3-bar combo in here to work off of on the short. Let me make sure I have this reset to US session. There we go. So there's no 3-bar combo to work off of. And on NQ, you have a fractal off the 8 range, which I'm going to assume is a 3-bar combo. So a positive bar on an 8 range with a close above, which we're on tap for, 1300. Here, so I'm going to bring our attention over to NQ since ES is a little bit slow right now. And on NQ, I am looking for a close. Can I see the end of this? I am looking for a close above. Can I see the end of this chart? That's weird. There we go. So I'm looking for a point of control to close above 1300. So I'm going to watch that quite closely. I'll keep that on my screen for now since ES isn't moving. All right, and make sure I have my DOM set up for it. Buy limit 13,004 quarter. I'm in. Stop on that is going to be 15 points from 04. So that brings up 94.89, which is the low. So just go ahead and put it at the low of the day. Okay. So I got the close above. I have to anticipate the 50-60 back, which at this point was there. So long. My goal is to make it back to the point of control or better, right? And then the other thing I want to do is I notice that I'm coming off. So one of two things is going to happen here when I look at the profile for the chart. I'm either going to come into these single prints and retest prior day's low, or I'm going to hold the back of this 1302. They're trying to bust that anomaly, right? So you're going to have to make a decision as to how you want to manage. You can pull 10 points out. It'll pay for most of your risk on the trade, because when you look at this, what we need to do is get above 13034, back into the point of control. My target, right? So this trade holds a lot of potential because the target's back to 13089. So from 04 to 89 is 70 points of, $1,400 a contract in P&L, right? So we're at 19, right? And since we're in the first hour, I'm going to go ahead and take a, wow, well, I didn't have much time to take that scale. So instead of talking, I should have scaled. I'll scale 10. I got most of my risk off. I got that at 1575. Okay. And now my stop's down there at 88 quarter on balance. And I'm still looking for a 50-60 back off of this to put on additional trade. And what I don't want is, I really don't want to get below this fractal down here. So you really can look at it and go, I don't want a PSC below 1301. So my hard stop's going to be down here. But when I line this up now with the 50-60 retrace, all right, so see how that's all lining up. I don't want it behind the 62. So now I can move my stop off of that. When I go back down there, I can move that stop from that 88. I can move it up to like 91, right? Because I know that's going to align with having to close behind that 9.5. And then I want the 50 retrace, which I'm on right now. I will add 0607 from what I just scaled. So I'm back to full size. And that went in at 0575, right? And now my stop is going to be at 91 quarter. And again, I'm going to use that P&L to help myself out. And now I'm hoping that it doesn't come in and set a new low, right? I hope the low is in, or I'm going to get stopped on this. So I have one or two ways of doing this. What I just added back at 0575, 06, I can scale out if I get a 5 or 10 point scale, or I can go, okay, no, I think we can reverse from here, and I'm going to play it for holding both this anomaly, the point of control, and the 786. So what I really just don't want to see it close a point of control behind this 1301, but I know if it does that, it'll probably be a pretty quick trip to 90, and it'll tag me out, right? And this is the part we can't control. We don't know what this is going to end up looking like. So I've got a 3-bar combo for a short on CL. I'm going to switch focus here for a second. I will be short below 59.68 with a point of control, triggering that trade with a 15-cent stop. So I'll need the point of control to get underneath in order to trigger me, right? And then I'll drop to 50-60 and all the other good stuff in order to be short. And then the question is, so CL profile. So the profile is actually overlaid on that already. So you can see back to the point of control will be the target from prior day on this trade. And I need to see that point of control underneath. It looks like I'm getting pretty close to getting stopped on NQ, and I got stopped on NQ. And I'm all right with that, right? I have no problem because the trade set up. If I wanted to scalp it out for a point, I had that chance. And I don't have another. And now actually you're set up, because see how you're devoid. So I'm watching both charts at the same time. See how I'm devoid of another fractal over there? I still know my trigger again comes over 1300, and I'll try that again. So to recap, right? We got triggered long somewhere in here. Let's say this is the point of control. It was right here, right? We got triggered long, remove the 50-60, it makes it easier to see, right? So I went long this bar right here. I don't know why I had that drawn out. Okay, so long on this bar right here. I was a little bit late, 0506. Got my first scale off and it went to profit. This was really had to be considered a 3-bar combo. So, oh, I know why I drew that out, because that's what I didn't want to get below, right? Why are you doing this to me, chart? There we go. So this is my 3-bar combo, right? And then you can see on NQ, I am pushing down into the single prints, right? Plus a prior day's low, plus we're below prior day's low. So I'm looking to get set up again, right, for the long side trade, right? I don't have a setup yet off the 8 range, and I'm all right with that. That's not a big deal, and the stop is a good deal. So the whole point behind that. Oh, and crude oil at 9:30 today, guys. Just FYI, crude oil report at 9:30. Thank you. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 9:26 a.m. for crude oil. So this is still the whole point of that is this is still my trigger for the long above 1300. I'm going to have to be patient and wait. So I have one or two choices here. I can either go to a smaller time frame, right? And I still don't have a front. This is, even with that, this is still my 3-bar combo to the long side, right? And the whole point is we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Just like yesterday, I made 100 points on a trade, but I don't know. I'm just going to take the setups that presents itself, and then I have to do the critical thinking from that point in. I'm trading in the first half hour. We always know that that's susceptible. There's your 3-bar combo, all right? So now my new target for a long is above 12,972 and a quarter. I'll be long above that. Again, same process that I just followed, right? There we go. So that's my bogey right there. And then you can also see you got set up. So, and that's important. You got set up over here as well, which is pretty much the same target. And then let's go watch. And CL triggered and I didn't see it. I missed it. Son of a gun. If CL will give me a lift back up there, I will take it off that 8 range. I realize it's inventory day. You obviously have to be out before 9:30. Short, if I can get to my chart and my dome. Short 60 cents. Stop on that is going to be 75 cents, for better or for worse. Now I need to do the math on it really quick. Make sure I've got the right stop in. We haven't broken the swing there yet. That was a 3-bar fractal to the high. I will add. Oh, I wanted to add right there where it just popped up. So that's 59.68 was where the ad should have been. And then the 786 is at 77. So I'm going to move my stop now to 79 to make sure I survive. That puts me right up against the high, right? So you're going to have to decide how you want to manage that risk. Whether you want to put it at 79 or you want to put it back at the high. I'm putting mine at 79 cents. It's 2 pennies behind the 786 retrace. And if I can approach that 68 cents again, I will add to the position. I am now limit 59.68 to add, full stop 59.79. And Q is about to trigger long on both the 8 range and on the 6. Yeah, agreed. Not there yet. No trigger yet. We need above the point of control. I'll probably wait for the 8 range to trigger. No fill on the 68 cents. That trades back and up and profitable, or it was for a split second there on CL. We're going to have to contend with the noise over the next couple of seconds. No trigger long on either process yet. And I'm still sitting on 68 cents to add. Again, you're going to get noise here over the next couple of minutes. I'm pretty sure we have econ top of the hour for Wednesday, 10 a.m. Powell and Yellen speak at the exact same time. It's 9 a.m. Again, they're trying to break that V. They're trying to hold VWAP. Break of a VWAP should pull us back in. You got to decide whether you want to stay with the CL trade or not. And eyes on NQ. Remember, you're going to be trading during the 2 most powerful financial people in our nation speaking. Make sure you're comfortable with that. No trigger on NQ. Still limit at 68, not hit. Full stop 79. I'll put my average at around 64. 68 not filled. 68 filled, stop 79. We'll see if I survive that or not. But that was a valid setup, and I'm willing, you can't rip the big trades like yesterday when you're afraid to take them on proper setup. Average is 64 cents, stop 79. Eyes on NQ. Point of control not above yet. You can take it on the 6 range. It's a little bit premature, but I'm going to use the 6 range and hope that it triggers on the 8. I'm going to limit 78. No dice. Order canceled. And I didn't get that 78 just because I wasn't limit there yet. I just didn't get it in time. Still watching. CL, you can kind of forget about it. It's either going to stop or it's going to roll, one of the two. And ES, nothing. No setup there. 3-bar combo on the 1.5, but nothing on. Oh, and we do actually have a potential setup here. 3-bar, 2 range. Point of control gets above here, and you're triggered on ES. My focus will be on NQ because the ranges have been so wide on NQ. Again, we're into a weak anomaly and into VWAP. Focus on the product you're trading. If you can't do all 3 or even 2, focus on what works for you, right? I still think you need it above 12972. Remember, I would not be long or short CL into the number. And if I get stopped on this CL, I'll roll it over to, I will not take my next trade until after inventories. Above 39.1250 is long for ES. I still have 72 as my bogey on NQ. And CL, my fate is sealed either way. 1 minute till. And if it just goes vertical and you miss it, you miss it. That's just nothing you can do about that. And top of the hour. Find out what she does. Same location still, 72. 1250 on ES. NQ down 61. CL awfully close to a stop. There's a 77, 78. No stop yet. 79 stopped. That's all right. Inventory day, I forgot about that. Into the bottom of the single prints on NQ, I'm looking for an excuse to be long down here, and then 12,927.75 is a prior day's low. Limit 39.14 and a 39.14.50 on ES. Long 39.14.50, 5-point stop. Make sure your stop, by the way, on that is going at the low of that rotation. So I would add, by the way, that 5-point stop should do it. I would just put it at 09 for the stop. NQ still on my radar. It's about to set up off the 6 range. I will start it there if it does it. If this closes above 65, still not there on the 8 range. Limit 69, point of control won't be above. Gotta wait. Again, we're trading during Powell, so the risk has gone up significantly higher of one boo word, and it goes vertical either way. Decide whether you want to trade. I'm coming off a monster day and generally monster 2 weeks, right? So I don't want to have a bad day, but I'm going to follow a process in this to see if I can't get a pretty good sized trade going, right? So you got to hear me when I say, hey, I'm trading in a difficult period. If you're not up a lot, don't trade as aggressively as I am. I'm in a position where I can trade very aggressively, right? Limit long 73.50 NQ. $73 NQ. Buy stop. No fill. New 8 range opportunity. You're actually triggered on the 8 range, by the way. Again, hard, difficult situation. Next positive bar I will take on NQ market. If this hammers up, I'll take it. So limit 64.25. And it has not triggered on the 6 range, so limit 64.50. No fill. CL's a non-entity for me right now. Long, no, I didn't. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. Filled 64 off that 64.50 limit. So the stop on that will be 15 points. That's 54.49 And now that's just to keep me safe. And now I will go do the math on it really quick. I plan to add it the 50 back, but it's triggered. Again, my goal is to point and control back up there. You have to trade it as you see fit. But your stop needs to go behind 45, so I'll make that adjustment now. I'll make it 43. It's a bigger stop than normal, so if you need to adjust your size, you can right now, right? And I will add at 55 on that trade, assuming it gives me the opportunity. And you're up 2.5 on ES if you're long ES. Again, with Powell speaking, the potential for a large upside move is there. So that's what I'm playing for. I'm not looking to scale out quickly, but I'm playing against profits from the last couple of days. So normally we're not in this situation where I have the luxury of playing with time. I do have the time advantage here, and we got the sell-off going into this situation as well. So if you need to scale NQ, you now have 10 points. You can use that. I'm going to scale a little bit so I can add back in at the 50, and that is done. Okay, and I will add that back in at the 50 retrace, which I have to adjust for now, by the way. So that's going to go to limit 5850, let's call it. Just a little bit in front of the 50 retrace to add. Don't know if I'll get that opportunity. And ES, I'm going to shoot for that 22, 23 area on ES. Don't know if I can get it. So again, manage your risk the way you see fit. I took a very little bit off that NQ. I just wanted a little bit of breathing room because I had to push that stop further back. By the way, commiserate with that, the 46 is now the 786. So 43 is still the appropriate stop there. Again, you now have 4 points approximately on ES if you need to scale to pay for your risk, right? Or if you just need a good trade to start the day. Is anyone long ES in the room? Is anyone long NQ in the room? No one took the trades. Oh, Victor, you did. Okay, good. Nice trade, brother. You're getting paid. Those were good setups, guys. It was just Fed speaker, man. Off the 8 range, you don't want to see a close below 12,961 now. So I'm going to pull the 50 retrace trade because it would actually trigger a short. I actually can still tag the 50 retrace, but if it closes with a point of control on an 8 range underneath, you got to go. All right, so I'll leave it there at 58, but if it doesn't close above 61, I'm history, right? So that means you can move up your hard stop off the 43 towards 47, 48, somewhere in that neighborhood, up at 49 quarter, okay? It's because the 786 doesn't matter anymore, right? You don't want it underneath this. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's how we're adjusting the risk in real time. And the 50-60 retrace, I think we actually just came to it because I forget to keep adjusting it. And we did. So your 50 retrace is actually 63.50 now. So really, you just don't want it to get behind the 786 there. So like I said, that you can even bring it up higher than 50. You can probably bring it up towards 51 quarter, 52 on your stop. And your add would be approximately 64. And ES, I would let it grind itself out, see if you can't get a push back towards. And this is the clear target over here. That has to be the target up. Now, the question is, are we transitioning from a market that's has aggressive buyers and they keep pushing, or does it fail? And we don't know that answer, right? So all we know is what the good setup is and what the good setup isn't. So on a 2 range, this is still providing support. We haven't come back in and put in a higher fractal. And that's kind of, so we're still managing for the same deal in there, right? So if you put the structure off the bottom, you've broken the swing, and your ad would actually come in right here at 1450 again. That'd be the 50-60 back. And you just don't want to close behind that 39.12 at this point. So I will add if they give me the opportunity to come into this 39.1475. Again, I'm running the same risk. Do they come back in and say boo and they just sell the Fed share and yelling hard? I don't know. So I'm willing to take the risk on the trade. Limit 63.50 to add. Phil, I'm late on it. So I added 60 and the stop stays the same. And that's a close below a 3-bar fractal. It's probably toast. Just FYI, I'll stay with it because it's in the right area for a bounce, but that doesn't look great. So I don't know what Mr. Fedman said, but they didn't like it on NQ, and I will leave my stop as is and reset. So harder day to get that extension, right? You can see the 786 held it on the trade back, right, when the 62, 786, so the 52.50 stop still in place. And my average is now down to 63 without calculating the scale. That's just what the computer's showing for position. So you can scale that 77 now. If you added the 63, I'm going to scale a little bit right there. That brings my average now down to 62.50 against the 52.50 stop. Okay, and I need a trigger for the long now above. I need above 81.75 would retrigger a new long and a new continuation trade. And again, ES, sorry for jumping back and forth so quickly, but ES is still valid. You have to decide how you're going to manage it because I can't tell what they're going to do there. But you've had enough to obviously get off 5 points of risk off that trade from the original entry. I didn't, but on a two range, I almost don't care. Those are very powerful fractals. Again, I've got very little risk on this NQ trade, and I can afford to see if we can push it back to the point of control, right? Doesn't mean I'll be successful, but I'm working against my P&L from other days. Inventories in 15 minutes roughly. Come on, let's take NQ positive. Just run those shorts. And you've got another 8 range 2-bar combo, so you don't want the point of control here underneath 1260.75. You can probably adjust your stop up a little bit off of that. I'm going to leave mine as is. I pretty much have the trade. I mean, either way, I'm good. That's what I'm trying to say. So back to that 62.50. Again, if it closes with a point of control underneath, which it's not in danger of doing so right now, we probably get stopped for continuation lower. And everyone should be profitable enough on that to have had a scale and to be able to manage the risk associated with it. And ES just grinding. So again, I think that 39.30, 32 is when we look at noontime, unless something disastrous happens with the Fed speakers, that's the target, right? when you look at that 100 times, 80 times, you're going to see it push back into that point of control at some point during the day. At risk of stop again on the balance of NQ. Point of control still has not closed below the 60 level, so it wouldn't even trigger a short yet. I'm going to add back here, same stop. What I scaled up above, so the 52.75 still stops me. My cost is 61, not counting the profits I already scaled off of. Technically, the point of control closed underneath on that 3 range bar, so the risk is higher that I'll get stopped here. We'll see what happens. It's technically triggered a short. I'm not willing to short it in those single prints. And again, if you need to bail on the trade, you should be profitable on it right here, right now. I don't. Again, I'm playing for the same idea that we can push it back to either the overnight VWAP at 13.031.22 or to the point of control at 13.090. Getting closer to that stop. And if I get stopped, I'll just start the cycle over again, right? Very close to that stop now. Stopped, and I'm all right with that. Start over. Point of control now. Trade would be, you would re-trigger long above 12.5650, and again, please manage your ES trade. That one at 5 points in your favor, right? So just know how you're going to manage that, and you don't want it closing behind that 786, which it may have already. You're right at that 786, and that's a profitable trade. It just didn't fly on the trailer. And obviously, this is the risk associated with the Fed speaker. So that balance is going to stop for me when this bar closes. And NQ now down 80. And the trigger still the same, 57, no new trigger. Again, I'm just not a fan of shorting in the single prints. Stopped on balance on ES. So maximum favorable excursion was approximately 6 points, I believe. No one should have gotten truly jacked on that trade, right? You either got paid or you got close to break even, maybe a little bit down on that trade, depending on how you managed it. So now this is still the bogey right over here. And you can see it's set up off the 2 range, but you had to be bearish to take it. So this is still the trigger long up here until we reset. And no one should be trying to bottom pick this thing in a free fall, right? So NQ down 92. And the logical target here would be the 12.89150. We're into the third rail on NQ, both the 8 range and the 6 range. That's a new environment, right? Where you get the Fed speaker speaking and the Yellen speaking, and we sell. That's very interesting. Again, I will take my shot again on NQ if it sets up. CL about 10 minutes away. A lot of buy deltas actually coming in on NQ, interestingly enough. not what you usually want to see. You want to see a bunch of sell delta come in here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See that? You usually want to see that a bunch of red in there, not a bunch of green. These people are trying to buy it and trap themselves, right? You see a bunch of buyers coming in off the bottom. What you want to see is a bunch of sellers coming in there and then get above them and push. Kind of a little bit like what we see in ES here. From a larger perspective, this is your breakaway point right there. I got an 8 range 3-bar assumed combo. I will be long NQ above 12, 9, 20, 75. NQ is not there on the smaller range. That is not the fractal into the low, but it is a 3-bar combo off of 8 range. Close enough for a 3-bar combo for me, at least. So I'm willing to take it in the hole. There again, same targets back up. And I'm not close on pulling the trigger for the long yet. Limit 12, 9 to 775 now. Long. So from that, you really need to just put your stop at the low. It did trigger. Actually, the point of control didn't get above, believe it or not. It triggered on a mediocre trigger on a, now it's triggered properly on an 8 range. And again, I think the stop just needs to be on the low. Again, environment, difficult. Fed chair speaking, right? So my stop's down there on the low. I'm sized correctly. And again, I'm going to try and push that trade. Again, coming underneath, important here, coming underneath the prior day's low. All right, they finally got a little bit of selling in there. I need to see them hold above 27 and push, right? And where's the goal? VWAP followed by this 13,100, right? So now that's a potential of a 170-point trade if we make it back to the prior day's point of control. So I'm thinking, what if it stretches? But I'm also thinking, how do I get my risk off on the trade at the same time, right? So if you entered that 27, you're at 35. 37 gets you 10 points off and pays for a great deal of your risk. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay. And now my stop still remains. So on the balance, right, I took 10 points. That effectively probably puts me back to 20, right? Maybe 22 against a 1050 stop, right? Does that make sense? And what I'm trying to do is get the structure so I'm above. What are the other things that we're looking for? Biggest push off the bottom, right? Engulfing wave, things like this, right? So, and then I need a little bit of love, right? And then the other thing I want to do is I want to get above this break up here, right? So, and I bet ES set up as well, and I did not see it. Let's see. No setup on ES yet. Okay, so I'm in on NQ. Please manage your risk, right? Take your scales. If you don't have a big cushion, and you take scales early. Take scales early. Do not blow up your day trying to get a turn on a day of a Fed speaker, right? Is my only suggestion there, because it can be hard. So again, you've gotten more than enough to get your risk off on that trade from entry, right? So your entry should be around 27, 28, depending on which way the slippage went on that. So you're now up over 12 points, which pays for almost all your risk on that trade. And now just the only way to make a quantum leap in the account is to get that big move off the bottom, right? So it would be natural to come back and go, okay, I have to anticipate adding to my trade now at this 50 back, right? So I'll limit back again 28 and add back what I already scaled off, right? Because I want to see the trade. I want to see that trade go, right? Good. So Randy, you should have a scale, and then you have to decide how you're going to attack it. Whether you're going to really push for this or the point of control, or if you're going to take your money and wait for another setup. I know that I'm going to try to push this trade already. I don't have any additional evidence to push why, other than I know we often push back to that 24-hour VWAP, the RTH VWAP, and the prior day's point of control, right? So there's my 50 retrace, add 29. Sorry, I was a little bit late on that. I forgot to actually put in the order. So the 786 right now is at 18. So you really just don't want to close behind, but again, the close behind is going to get you to the low of the day anyways. It's just going to be fast. That's part of the nature within Q, right? And we'll go from there. Again, no ES on 2 range has not set up yet. No fractal. So it may just V. It does that sometimes. Or it may do nothing. It may just grind here. So the 2.8 gave you 3.6 for potential scale. I haven't scaled that add yet, but I will in a second. Let's just call it anything above 3.8. Scaled. 4 minutes to inventories. So my cost is way back there, right? My pain level will be relatively low if I get stopped again, right? And now I can wait. Again, this above 39.1850 is what I need to see ES get above to push back up. Let me kill the video here so people can review it without having hours of review video to do.